This story is about an unidentified serial killer and rapist who operated in the United States from 1976 to 1986. The criminal was known as the Golden State Killer, the original Night Stalker, and others. The police stated that the criminal, who earned the nickname Golden State Killer, committed at least 12 murders, 45 rapes, and broke into homes hundreds of times across California. How did someone who carried out all these crimes manage to avoid arrest for 40 years? On May 3, 1986, Janelle Cruz was home alone while her parents were on vacation. The 18-year-old girl who worked in a restaurant invited a friend over. Later, he recalled that at least twice they had noticed strange sounds coming from outside and from the garage. But Cruz, who was described by her family as a kind-hearted, beautiful girl just entering adulthood, dismissed the sounds. Around midnight, her friend left, and the next morning, a real estate agent who came to show the house to potential buyers discovered Janelle in her bedroom. She had been raped and brutally beaten to death, her teeth smashed and her face so disfigured that she was hard to recognize. Footprints from tennis shoes were found nearby, and a heavy wrench was missing from the garden behind the house. Initially, the police suspected people who had seen her alive last, as well as her ex-boyfriend, but the investigation reached a dead end. The police collected biological samples from the crime scene and the victim's body, but at that time, DNA analysis as a method of evidence gathering was still in its infancy, and the biological materials were stored for many years. The Cruz family tried to move on, but the thought that Janelle's killer remained at large haunted them. "I couldn't stay home alone for 32 years, said Michelle Cruz White, Janelle's younger sister. "I lived in constant fear, and so did my mom." By 1986, the family did not yet know that Janelle had become the last known victim of the so-called Golden State Killer, who operated for nearly 10 years, gaining notoriety as one of the most notorious sadists in American history. Since the early 1970s, the unknown perpetrator committed assaults in various parts of California, from Sacramento to Los Angeles. He was given different nicknames, including the East Area Rapist and the Original Night Stalker. Only with the advent of DNA testing did police realize they were dealing with the same criminal. Even after that, it would take another 2 decades to find him. This part of the story reflects the work of several generations of investigators. According to Sergeant Hampton from the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office, on July 17, 1976, the masked intruder broke into the bedroom of a 23-year-old woman. Upon waking, she saw a man hovering over her with a gun pointed below the waist. He tied her hands, stuffed a nightgown in her mouth, and raped her. After he left, she managed to call 911, even though her hands were still tied. She became the first documented victim. Over the next 12 months, the man, now known as the East Area Rapist, attacked his victims repeatedly, sometimes with only a few days between incidents. Usually, he chose single-story houses, broke in through windows, and tied up his victims. He would blind women with a bright light and threaten them with death. The attacks turned the quiet life of Sacramento upside down. Residents began arming themselves with guns and baseball bats, purchasing guard dogs, and for the first time in their lives, started locking their doors. The East Area Rapist committed increasingly sadistic acts. He would take trophies from his victims, such as jewelry. Before he raped a 13-year-old girl, he placed plates on the back of her mother, who was in the adjacent room, and threatened to cut off the daughter's fingers if he heard the sound of falling plates. In one incident, a phone call made at a woman's house recorded a man whispering, "I love you," I love you. He raped more than 2 dozen women before committing his first known murder in 1978. On February 2nd, 1978, Brian Maguire was walking his dog at night when he got into a conflict. Nobody knows what they argued about, but 20-year-old Kathy and the 21-year-old Brian were shot dead. Several witnesses saw a man in a ski mask fleeing the scene. Months earlier, Kathy had complained that a man at work was stalking her. Colleagues reported that someone continually called her and that an unknown man in a blue Volkswagen had been following her for hours. After she tried to approach him, he left, but returned a few hours later. Following that, Kathy quit her job. After the murder of Kathy and Brian, the East Area rapist began to assault victims in Contra Costa County. He raped over 20 people and then committed murder again, this time claiming the lives of osteopathic surgeon Robert Offerman and his girlfriend Alexandria Manning, both of whom were tied up and killed in Offerman's home. After that incident, he left no more victims alive. In the early 1980s, the criminal, known as the original Night Stalker, began killing in the counties of Santa Barbara and Ventura. He developed a new habit of raping women in front of their partners and then killing both. He murdered newlyweds Keith and Sharia Harrington, as well as a couple named Ginger and Greg Sanchez, who were beaten to death with a blunt object. He also raped and killed a woman named Manuela Vuitton in 1986 while her husband was in the hospital. Ultimately, in that same year, he raped and killed Janelle Cruz, after which he vanished for 32 years. Law enforcement was puzzled by the fact that the rapes and murders occurred sometimes hundreds of miles apart. The police suspected obvious individuals, spurned lovers, family members, or other acquaintances of the victims. We had excellent detectives who worked hard on this case, narrates Lieutenant Old Bailey, who had been studying the case since 2008. According to him, no one then could have predicted that a criminal from Southern California would turn out to be the killer they had been searching for. 10 years after Cruz's murder, it was discovered that the DNA from her body matched the DNA of Joseph James DeAngelo. Over time, it was revealed that his DNA matched traces from the crime scenes of the Sanchez and Domino murders, as well as several rape sites in Contra Costa from the late 1970s. For decades, the police had DNA from the Golden State Killer, but it wasn't found in any database, meaning that this man had never been held accountable. Eventually, an operational group was formed from all affected jurisdictions and included FBI representatives. A reward was offered for information about the killer or the case. The police and journalists received thousands of tips, but the suspect was never found. Everything changed 2 weeks ago when Michelle Cruz recalled on April 25th, Sacramento County District Attorney Anne Marie Schubert announced that 72-year-old Joseph James DeAngelo had been arrested and charged with the murders of the Smiths and other victims. The night before, rumors surfaced in the community of surviving victims and relatives of the deceased. The lead detective on Cruz's case called her sister Michelle and their mother to share the news. "I cried and cried," Michelle Cruz White recalled, stating that her mother was also in shock. The breakthrough in the investigation occurred after retired investigators from the Contra Costa District Attorney's Office, which had long been working on the case, decided to search a free genealogy website where users leave their information. According to the Sacramento Bee, the site was created to help people find lost relatives. This database holds millions of DNA profiles. Deputy District Attorney Steve Grippy confirmed that one of DeAngelo's family members used the service. "We were looking for a needle in a haystack and found it," said Beer, who was involved in the investigation since 2000. D'Angelo was born on November 8, 1945, to Army Sergeant Joseph James D'Angelo and Louise D'Angelo in a family of 4 children. He had 2 sisters and a younger brother. During the trial, a family relative revealed that Joseph witnessed the rape of his 8-year-old sister by 2 airmen in a warehouse somewhere. One of his sisters described that Joseph often faced harsh discipline and pressure from their father during childhood. From 1959 to 1960, D'Angelo attended a junior high school in Cordova, California, before transferring to Folsom High School, where he graduated in 1964 with a high school diploma, earning a baseball scholarship. Prosecutors stated that in his teenage years, D'Angelo began exhibiting signs of mental disturbances, committing burglaries and torturing animals. In September 1964, he enlisted in the US Navy and served 22 months as a damage controlman. He returned home on June 1, 1967, and in August 1968 attended Sierra College, graduating with honors with an associate degree in police science. In 1971, he enrolled at California State University, Sacramento, where he earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and later completed postgraduate work in police training. From May 1973 to August 1976, D'Angelo worked in the burglary unit in Exeter, later transferred to Auburn from August 1976 to 1979. He was arrested for shoplifting a hammer and dog repellent, sentenced to 6 months probation and fired in October of that year. After that, his career in law enforcement ended. Years later, it was revealed that during the termination process, D'Angelo threatened to kill his police chief and was seen near his chief's house. From 1979 to 1986, little was known about D'Angelo's work history. In 1980, he worked as a truck mechanic at a distribution center for Save Mart grocery stores until he retired in 2017. In 1996, he was briefly arrested for not paying for gas, but charges were ultimately dropped. Neighbors recalled that D'Angelo often made loud, obscene outbursts, such as calling neighbors with threats if their dogs barked too loudly. At the time of his arrest, he lived with his daughter and granddaughter. In May 1970, D'Angelo became engaged to a classmate, but she broke off the engagement after enduring his abuse. After the breakup, he repeatedly threatened her with a gun to make her marry him. In November 1973, he married Sharon Mary Huddle, and in 1980, they bought a house in Citrus Heights, where he was arrested decades later. Huddle began working as a divorce attorney in 2008, and they had 3 daughters together, 2 born in Sacramento and 1 in Los Angeles. In 1991, Joseph and Sharon separated, but their divorce wasn't finalized until July 2018, a few months after D'Angelo's arrest. After his arrest, police began searching his home for trophies that the killer might have kept, as well as masks and weapons. On Friday, D'Angelo made his first court appearance in Sacramento in a wheelchair, wearing an orange prison jumpsuit, speaking in a whisper. He requested a public defender, and future court dates for his case are scheduled for May 14th. It is still unclear if he will face the death penalty. Meanwhile, the Sacramento County Sheriff urged all victims of sexual violence who hadn't come forward back then to do so now. This investigation will take a long time, noted Sergeant Sean Hampton. Michelle Cruz White struggled to contain her emotions during a phone interview with the BBC, stating that she cried for the first time since learning that the rapist and murderer of her sister might face justice. For her, it was a relief that everything had ended for them and that her sister could finally rest in peace. Despite this, D'Angelo may still attempt to prove his innocence. Nichelle Cruz White mentioned that she finally felt calm and relaxed for the first time in 32 years, knowing that the world would learn his secrets. He can no longer hide and die peacefully. We did it. He is where he belongs. On March 4th, 2020, D'Angelo offered to plead guilty if he was not sentenced to death, although such deals were at that time impossible. On June 9th, D'Angelo pleaded guilty to 13 counts of first-degree murder, including murders committed during burglaries and thefts, as well as 13 counts of kidnapping. On August 21st, 2020, 74-year-old Joseph D'Angelo was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.